Okay, forget everything you think you know about the car industry. This isn't about horsepower or sleek designs anymore. No, the global auto market has become a geopolitical chessboard, and right now, a hidden economic war is being waged for its future. Let's get into it.
So it all starts with a question that, on the surface, makes absolutely no business sense. Last year, the world's biggest EV maker, BYD, offered to build a massive billion-dollar factory in India. In India, a country that is desperate for foreign investment, looked at that $1 billion and said no. Why on earth would they do that? Because this was never about business. It was a declaration of war.
What India did there is what we call a geopolitical kill switch. It's a pretty brutal but very simple move. You identify your number one threat, in this case, China's total dominance in EVs, and you just slam the door shut. You create this protected, sanitized market, a kind of walled garden, where your allies can get in, rebuild their strength, and rearm, completely safe from the predator outside.
So let's look at how this blockade actually worked. BYD puts the billion-dollar factory on the table. New Delhi turns around and cites security concerns, which, is a very convenient excuse. But here's the real effect. It forces BYD into an impossible spot. Without that local factory, their cars get slapped with tariffs up to 100%. They're effectively priced right out of the market. And who just happens to benefit? Japan's automakers. They're basically handed a 3 to 5 year protected window to build their own EV empire, completely free from their biggest rival.
You have to understand, blocking that one factory was the single most important move in this entire game. It was the first shot that started the war. But of course, a war needs funding, and the amount of money that came flooding in after this decision, well, it's just staggering. $11 billion. Now don't think of this as some friendly corporate investment. This is a coordinated war chest, deployed by Japan Inc. with one single objective: to build an alternative to the Chinese manufacturing machine, from the ground up.
And you can see exactly where this money is going. It's flowing directly through Japan's big three. Suzuki, which is all in on India, is pouring in a massive $8 billion. Toyota is committing over $3 billion just to expand. And then you've got Honda with its own export-focused plan they're calling Project Elephant. So make no mistake, this is not a series of independent decisions, it's a synchronized capital assault.
And this isn't just talk or some grand plan in a press release. You can actually watch this war being fought on the global balance sheets. You can literally see the capital flight in the hard data as money is pulled from one country and lands in another. And just look at this pivot. It's incredible. For the first time in modern history, Japanese investment flowing into India, now around $6 billion a year, has officially doubled what's going into China. The capital is literally fleeing China and landing squarely inside this new walled garden. The data here is just undeniable. Okay, so we've got the motive, build a fortress. We've got the weapon, the kill switch, and we've got the funding. That's the $11 billion. But what makes this whole audacious strategy actually work? What makes it economically viable? Well, it all comes down to some brutal, simple math. Just look at these numbers. The average manufacturing wage in China's auto hubs is about $750 a month. In India, $240. That is a 3 times cost advantage. This isn't just a small edge, it's a massive arbitrage opportunity. It means you can pay 3 workers in Gujarat for the price of 1 in Guangdong.
And that cost difference, that's everything. That is the economic engine that allows Japan to build cars in India that can go toe-to-toe on price with anything coming out of China. It completely neutralizes China's biggest advantage.
And exploiting this engine has led to a situation that should be deeply, deeply embarrassing for the old guard of global manufacturing. It's a complete reversal of how the world is supposed to work. For decades, the model was simple, right? Japan sent its technology and its expertise to factories all across Asia. But now India is building high-tech electric vehicles and exporting them back to be sold in the showrooms of Tokyo. This is the ultimate symbol that the monopoly of the Made in China era is breaking apart. A perfect example of this is the new Suzuki e-Vitara. It's not built in Japan. It is built exclusively in Gujarat, India. And then, more than half of its production is loaded onto ships and sent to Europe, and to Japan itself. So the car you might see on the streets of Osaka was actually assembled in Hansalpur, India. But look, building the car is only half the battle. To truly win this war, Japan and India have to control the technology inside the car. They have to build a supply chain that's totally free from Chinese components. What they need is technological sovereignty.
And they are doing it right now. For semiconductors, the brains of the EV, India's Tata is partnering with Japan's ROHM to make these critical power chips right there in India. For the batteries, the heart of the EV, Suzuki has built its own battery plant with Toshiba and Denso. The goal here is simple. Make sure that if Beijing ever threatens an embargo, it just won't matter. The supply chain will be completely sanitized.
So, the strategy is brilliant. The funding is there, the political blockade is holding strong. But don't get me wrong, this is an incredibly high-stakes gamble. Is it foolproof? Absolutely not. The risks are huge. India's ports are famously congested, and its power grid can be unstable, which threatens the whole export timeline. And it's not like Japanese firms are just fighting China. They're facing ferocious competition from Indian giants like Tata and Mahindra on their home turf. But the reward, if they can actually pull this off, is just as big, breaking China's EV hegemony for good.
It really all comes down to this. The plan itself is a masterstroke of geopolitical strategy, but actually executing it, well, that's an operational tightrope walk over a canyon. Pretty much everything has to go right.
But let's be crystal clear about one thing. This is not a theory. The China exit is real. The $11 billion are real. The geopolitical weapons being used are real. And the central battlefield for the future of the electric car is India.